All right, looks like we're up. I got a thumbs up, which means that this is live. That's good. Hello, everyone. Today is the 10th of November, 2021. Boy, this year's almost over, isn't it? Um, I thought I'd come on and address a couple of things today. One that goes along with some things that are happening on the Earth and in the cosmos, particularly in our solar system. Hi, thank you for letting me know in 5x5 DS88 and Patrick Tholson. I appreciate it so much. Um, I imagine that Roosevelt will probably see that I've gone live and be on here in a minute too. I did not notify Roosevelt that I was coming on. I probably should have. And if you come on, Roosevelt, thanks. Or any of the other mods, I appreciate it. Like I said, though, I didn't notify anyone. Uh, However, before I get into the situation with what's happening in our world as far as cosmic and terrestrial events, let me put it that way, I do want to bring up the situation with Kyle Rittenhouse again. I've mentioned it off and on for a long time. Uh, I can unequivocally state that if I had been the investigating police officer, particularly the detective, at the very beginning of this case, I would never have brought charges against Kyle Rittenhouse because there was plenty of information to show that this was all in self defense. A question of whether or not he should have had the rifle there is another issue altogether. But as far as all those charges of murder, etc., I can tell you for a fact that if I had been there, I would not have filed charges on him and I would have fought tooth and toenail with anybody that tried to. The FBI failed to bring out the FLIR footage to show what happened, which clearly vindicates him. And that's what they do. This is all an agenda. It's not about justice. It's not about truth. It's not about anything but an agenda of the leftist Marxists to shut down what God has given us to protect our lives. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I did see the young man break down in court today, and it was obvious. I'm surprised he hasn't done it before this. And those prosecutors should be hung. They have committed some crimes in the process of what they've done, not just prosecutorial misconduct, but actual crimes, and they should be punished. They won't be. Because the leftist Marxists take care of their own, unlike the so-called uh, Republican conservatives who turn on each other on a dime. And I to illustrate that, I'll just say the people that are attacking Dr. Carrie Made, just as an example. Uh, that's just an example. That doesn't happen in the leftist side. Because there's punishments in the leftist side when you go against their agenda. They'll come after you. Not on the Republican side. Uh, you know, no support here at all. And when you stand up for something, somebody wants to call you opposition research or a limited hangout or whatever with absolutely no proof. It's unbelievable to me. But that's another subject as well. What they've done to Kyle Rittenhouse is a mortal sin. It's criminal, and the people that brought this against him should be brought up on charges. I'll say that again. If I had been an investigating officer in that case, he would never have had charges filed against him. Period. Okay, that's enough on that. I just wanted to make sure I got that out. I did listen to a presentation by Mike Adams this morning. I know a lot of people have some suspicions about Mike Adams. Again, I'm not calling him a limited hangout or any of those things. Yeah, he's done some things I don't like. You know, he pushed the big thing with the illness at first, and having to wear the face coverings and all that. So I know all that. David Knight has explained that problem on the Mike Adams side, and I understand that. But okay, let's back off of that for a minute. What I do want to say is that he covered some information today about the other ways that they're waging war on us, and I'm going to be careful here because of the usual reasons with the algorithm, right? I've long talked about why did Gates say that CO2 is something that needs to be reduced? because CO2 is part of the life cycle. I've talked about that for years. It's part of the photosynthesis process for plants and for our having oxygen, right? You need four things. You need sunlight, you need water, you need carbon dioxide and oxygen. At a minimum, you need those things in order for life to exist. If you cut down on CO2, it cuts down on the plants being able to breathe and then emit oxygen. But more importantly, it kills off that food supply. So here you have the entire green movement now saying that they don't want us to eat meat. They want us to only eat vegetables, right? And weeds and things like that. Well, guess what? If they cut down on the CO2 in the atmosphere, they're going to kill off the plants as well, and you won't have any plants to eat. There are some really diabolical or stupid forces at work in this world to try to destroy things and make new technologies, new ways of making money at the expense of your life. I guess that's always the way it's been. But I've talked about that subject for a long time. And so when I heard that Mike Adams was going to give this explanation today, I had to listen. And he brought up the Haber cycle. It's Haber. You ought to go look that up. It has to do with nitrogen, and them shutting down the fertilizer plants, which is going to starve about 3 billion people. And I understand all that. The nitrogen is needed as part of the process of the plants being able to make themselves, so that, yes, that's right, so that they can produce their bodies, their plant, their fruits, and all that. Along with the other parts of the photosynthesis. Nitrogen's not really part of the photosynthesis aspect of it. It's actually the food that the plants eat is essentially what that is. But regardless, I thought his explanation was good. It was in the fourth hour of the AJ show today. You really need to, if you can listen to it. He's done a very good job. I got to roll my windows down here. Sorry, it's getting warm. There's a lot of noise out here, though, so I'll have to speak up, okay? I'm near a construction site. But there were some other things that I thought about as I was listening to him. There's no doubt that, we've known about the powers that be setting up these carbon dioxide sucking machines. And he talks about that and how that's the dumbest thing in the world to take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere for the reason I already explained. And then, of course, you have the SAIs going on, the stratospheric aerosol injections, which are poisoning our air and trying to block the sun, which, of course, blocks light getting to the plants, which interferes with photosynthesis and the production of oxygen. All of this is interrelated. So you attack one aspect of the environment and you destroy other parts of it, and yet they say they're trying to save the planet. They're liars. Prima facie, that means on its face. Manifestly, they're liars. They're about destroying mankind, and they're using every means at their disposal to do it, like I've said. However, I want to point out a couple of things. I'm not a chemist. I took chemistry in high school and college. I didn't do too well in biochem. As a matter of fact, I was a pre-med student, and it was the biochem course that washed me out. The professor's idea of knowing biochemistry was memorizing, no kidding, foot to 18-inch long strands of carbon chain molecules, and I just couldn't do that. That rote memorization is crazy. No, they're not ozone machines. They're actually taking the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. And somebody asked about ozone machines. They're not ozone machines. They're designed to take the CO2 out, and then Mike Adams was just conjecturing that they're going to store it underground and then release it sometime in the future when most of mankind's dead, I guess. I don't know. That part I'm not sure about, neither was Mike Adams. Getting back on this other subject I was just talking about, I'm not a chemist, but I learned enough. I knew, for instance, I was riding with a granddaughter of mine. We were out one day, and her dad teaches science in school. And she was saying, oh, we got to cut down this carbon dioxide. And I looked at her. She was driving, okay? And I looked at her, and I thought, man. So I pointed out at some trees. And I've talked about this story before. And I pointed at some trees, and I said, young lady, what do those trees breathe? And she goes, I don't know. And I said, they breathe in carbon dioxide. It's why they're alive. So if you cut down on the carbon dioxide, you're going to kill those trees. And they're not going to be able to make the oxygen that you breathe, So then you die, and they also can't make their fruits and their plant parts that you eat as food, so you starve to death. So who's telling you that we need to cut down on carbon dioxide? Obviously, she didn't want to say, okay? I learned that process when I was in junior high school. And look what they're telling the whole world. And like Mike Adams said, the mainstream media, whether they know they're touting stupidity or not, it's not just ignorance, it's stupidity. They have no idea what they're talking about having to reduce greenhouse gases, and of course the one they're referring to is CO2. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to shift just a little bit here for a minute and tell you what I was thinking about after I got done listening to Mike. We're asking God to help us out, right? Some of us, not all of us. Some of us are really praying hard for God to help us out. And then some weird things start happening. And I've talked about this along with Jesse from BP Earthwatch, about that the sun talked about in Malachi, not the S-O-N, but the S-U-N, Shemesh, would have healing in its wings and would destroy the evildoers and their plans, amongst some other things, and that healing in its wings would come and help us. Well, guess what? They're trying to cut down on the carbon dioxide and the nitrogen. Let me cover the nitrogen first. Nitrogen is released in the atmosphere. There's nitrogen oxide in the atmosphere, and it's released during a lightning strike. And during the lightning strike, those nitrogen atoms fall to the earth and combine in the soils to make nitrates, which is what the plants use to grow. Well, there's another process that brings this about, along with this reduction in CO2 that they keep talking about. I'm going to jump to volcanoes. Now, I checked this out before I came on today, and they try to say that all of human activity releases more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere than a volcano erupting does. I checked on that, and I think that's disinformation. Why am I bringing this up? Well, you might think, well, gee, the La Palma volcano, maybe that's it. Well, that's part of it. If you listen to Jesse and other astronomers, they talk about the sun activity. And right now, the sun activity is causing our shields to drop, the Earth's shields, electromagnetic shields, to drop, which is allowing our core to heat up. Thus, we're having massive volcanic activity around the world, not just in La Palma, not just in Italy, but along the Ring of Fire and other places. And these volcanoes, thank you, Jesse. Jesse's here. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And he's saying exactly, Roy. So what's happening? They're trying to take this CO2 out of the atmosphere, which makes our planet green, right, to kill us. And so God fired up the sun in such a way that now it's causing massive volcanic activity, which is dangerous in some ways, but it's putting three things into the atmosphere in massive amounts. Not just, and I'm not talking about the ash, obviously that, but from the ash you get what? More nitrogen, more carbon to grow plants in, etc., etc. But there are three things that come out of a volcanic eruption. Yes, Melinda Ann Burns, you're absolutely right. Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, which is a problem, okay, but there's a reason for that, and I'll get into that in a minute, and water vapor. Those are the primary things that a volcanic eruption puts out. The number one thing being water vapor, the number two being carbon dioxide. So what's happening is while they're trying to eliminate carbon dioxide to kill us all, and they kill all life on Earth, make us like Mars, God said, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to fire up the sun here, and it's going to heat up the core of the earth, and you're going to have massive volcanic activity, and some of it you don't see. It's in the oceans, on the ocean floor, and you get bubbles up of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and sulfur dioxide, amongst some other things. So all of this is being released in the atmosphere, much, much more than anything human activity can do, and certainly a lot more than their little pumping stations in the Midwest that they're trying to use to take carbon dioxide out of the air and also, stop the sun and all those other things. We're getting plenty of carbon dioxide because the sun is firing up the core of the earth and the volcanoes are releasing CO2. So God is working. Sometimes we don't recognize it, and I wanted to point that out today. Now, I would like to talk more about the sulfur situation because I was looking into that to see, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide cause acid rain, okay? And that comes from, a lot of the different types of other emissions that we should be controlling. Okay, and you get that a little bit from the sulfur dioxide, of course, from the volcanic eruptions. But if you're going to have nitrogen oxide, dioxide, and sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere, when the lightning strikes in the air, what happens to the sulfur dioxide and the nitrogen dioxide? As I said already, on the nitrogen, it separates and it goes into the soil and makes nitrates. Well, we need to have oxygen and carbon to make fertilizer, a little more chemically complicated than just the simple nitrogen molecule. So what happens is when you get these lightning strikes, which also occur around volcanoes, again producing lightning, which are separating the molecules, you get sulfur dioxide separated from, you get the sulfur separated from the oxygen, which then is released in the atmosphere as O2, which isn't from a photosynthetic process, right? And it goes into the formation of nitrates in the soil. Sulfur's still floating around. I don't know what else it bonds to. I didn't go that far, but these are very important things to understand. So God has put in this wonderful place here a lot of checks and balances to even take care of these evil ones. And Jesse, I just noticed, said that their carbon tax plans have a lot of holes in it, and this is definitely one of them. So I'll end there. And Jesse, do you want to end with anything else here as far as a discussion here? Oh, somebody said something here I want to see. With the catalyst sprayed dispersed from above, fires will occur. Even the sky can catch on fires. Nitrogen, oxygen plus water vapor turns into hydrogen combustion of the atmosphere. Yeah, I'm sure that, that's certainly a possibility too. I would put that down. What's your name? Eric Toros. Yeah, very possible. I'm not sure about all that, but certainly having, what happens when carbon dioxide gets into a fire? Eric, do you know what happens when carbon dioxide levels go up in an area where there's a fire? The fire chokes out. Did you know that? Okay. So there's another use for carbon dioxide. It chokes out those fires you're talking about that could be caused by some of these other things. Okay. Okay. So let me see if Jesse's made a final statement here, and then I'll go. I don't mean to tie you up, Jesse. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you mentioned that I was hitting this pretty close. Yeah, it dies it out. Yeah, the carbon dioxide dies out. Okay. Jesse says they are taking a lot of land from the farmers to build the pipeline. Yes, you're talking about the pipeline and the carbon dioxide suckers, right? Machines that suck the carbon dioxide out, right? Yeah, the farmers are losing their land to eminent domain. This is all evil. This is so evil, it's unbelievable. And our DOD, those who have been sworn to defend us against these mad scientists, do nothing. No, they are in a conspiratorial alliance with these people to do exactly what's happening. They are not your friends. They're not going to save you. Not at all. There you go. Jesse's put up heartlandgreenway.com about this whole thing with the carbon dioxide sucking machines and the pipelines that they're putting. By the way, the carbon dioxide will be liquefied and apparently stored somewhere. Mike Adams thought it would probably be underground, which may be actually, we theorized that there was life on Mars at one point, probably some of our people. And maybe that's what they did there. Maybe they've sucked all the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere there and stored it underground. That's certainly a possibility. Also the water, right? Yeah, Biden, I know, talks about, yeah, I mean, none of this surprises you, him violating the court order. I know. They're attacking us. This is a war. Like I've said so many times, this is a war on us. This isn't, trying to make things better. This is trying to kill you and your kids, this entire program of the governments around the world. A few are trying to stand up, and they've assassinated the leaders of those countries, right? You see what they're... I'm not giving Governor DeSantis a complete pass here, but he stood up to him, and look what's happened to him. His wife came down with cancer. I would not doubt that that was an attack on her. I wouldn't doubt it a bit. And then you have the situation going in Montana where they've denied, they've said absolutely they're banning all of those GMIs up there on mandates, okay? Utah, unfortunately, and I've told you this before, you guys that are Mormons, and especially if you're in Utah, I've told you that the leaders of your church aren't who you think they are. They are devil worshipers. They are pedophiles. They are human traffickers. They are evil, evil men, at least at the very top and quite a bit through the rest of the upper echelons. Okay? I've known it for years. I've seen it. They're pushing the social credit score here, digital identification, and all of those things. It's on Twitter. There was a whole list of stuff that they're pushing out there. And Governor Cox, he's a little wah-wah baby, and he's going to do whatever he's told. So he's going to allow the people of Utah to be put under this slavery, this subjection to evil powers, because they're in bed with the secret societies and the IC, the intelligence community, and the New World Order. So the people of Utah better get up off their buns and start doing something about this. And of course, they're also pushing here. Now, there's been a pushback in the legislature down there in Salt Lake to try to stop these different mandates, okay? I don't know where that is right now. I don't know where that is. Somebody from Utah might be able to tell me. All I know is that there's a big fight down there, and I'm afraid that the church is going to push, the LDS church, the Mormons, they're going to push to do whatever the government tells them to do. So there's going to be people to try to stand up against that, and I don't know how it's going to end up. All right. Well, that's all I've got for you. Jesse, I want to thank you for your input here on this. Let me see what you say here. They are saying they will frack it into the ground. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, Jesse. So yeah, they're going to store it underground. Probably exactly what happened on Mars. So now you know why I called this Earth's flatulence, right? The volcanoes and these other types of subterranean activities that release the internal gases in the planet. They're farting, okay? And it's because God's playing with the sun to counter the evil plans of these devils in the flesh, and maybe some who are not in the flesh. Maybe there really are interdimensional beings or whatever. Maybe CERN has released those. Boy, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, CO2 is one of the fracking chemicals. Yeah. Yeah, I knew that off Fucus. That's interesting you would know that. Let me see what else there is here, if I need to address anything real quick. Yeah, Ice Age Farmer Mike. I don't follow Ice Age Farmer. I'm aware of him. Mike Adams mentioned him today. Okay, so he and Ice Age Farmer are apparently talking to each other. Where are the people that have taken their oath to defend the Constitution? They're being purged. The military is no longer your friend. Do not join the military, and they're going to restart up the draft. Do not submit. Do not take that oath that they want you to. Refuse to sign up for the draft, and protect your daughters. Do not let them do it. Die in their place, protecting their lives. Okay, yeah. Jesse is saying that the Mount Simon Formation in Illinois can be used to sequester the CO2 transported by the CO2 pipeline. See, Jesse, you keep on top of so much of this. It's just, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Yeah, the military is your enemy at this point in time. And they'll use the same excuse. Oh, they've got good people in there in the rank and file. Yeah, like Hannity said, the rank and file of the FBI is good. Well, I said no from the beginning for years now. And finally, there are some people that I follow, very, very powerful people, both in the private sector who've been police officers working with law enforcement, all that are finally admitting that I'm right. There are no good rank and file FBI agents. If they were, they'd be blowing the whistle right now, big time, because they got to know what's going on. They've seen it. This whole thing with raiding. Let's see if I should say this right. The truthful, if read between the lines here, the truthful organization that goes out and interviews people in secrecy and then puts it out there as to what's really going on. Those guys, they raided. The guy who runs that, they raided his house over a diary about abuse by Mr. Biden then. Really? They should arrest the son of a bitch, but they don't. They protect him. Thank you, Disciple of Messiah. I didn't want to say it. Yeah, and the name is there too. Bain, you said his name. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah, that's right. I can't say it's Sister Golden Hair because the algorithm. All right. You just got to be careful there. All right. You say something too many times or even one time, and they'll boot your video off. And I've already had one done. Actually, I've had several videos taken down. The most recent one was about let's say it was 11 months ago when I was talking about the GMI thing and what it would do. All right. Okay. Yeah, we have no friends in the government. Watchman just says the federal judge is siding with J&J. I know. They're all coming after you. They've been put into place for years. Just like they were in the FBI, just like they've been in the upper brass of the military over the years, and now it's going down through the ranks. You see woke people coming in droves now into the military. They're your enemies. I'm telling you. Their oaths to the Constitution mean nothing. They don't even know what it says. How can you take an oath to support and defend something you've never read or had classes on? You don't know what it says. And they have no requirement to be tested on their knowledge of the Constitution. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right? Okay, so capping all this off, the sun is doing some things right now that's causing the core of the earth to heat up. We're having all this volcanic activity, which is releasing carbon dioxide at such a rate that there's no way these idiots that are trying to destroy the earth by sucking away the carbon dioxide are going to succeed. The trick now is that you have to stay alive. You have to resist. You have to say, absolutely not. We're not doing it. And we'll stand our ground and use deadly force to protect ourselves if we need to. We might not make a big dent, but we're going to make you assholes pay for doing this to us. We're not going to go offensive, but you come against us, you grab our kids, you steal our food, you take our money, somebody's going to pay. And those dumbs that you've got aren't going to protect you. We know how to get into them, you idiots. Talking to the New World Order. People like Ted Turner, etc. There is no place you'll be able to hide. You'll have those dumbs to be buried in and rot and have your flesh fall off with the worms eating them, you faggots. All right. Yeah, that's right, Jesse. They're going to take our tax money. Isn't that funny? They take our tax money, give it to the treatment companies, and then tell you that you're getting free treatments. No, and then of course it's going to change once you get so you have to have those treatments to survive. You're going to be paying for them, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be paying for them, and they're going to kill your kids. Okay, that's all I got. I just wanted to bring that up. Thank God, really, that the earth farts. Okay? All right, y'all take care out here.